Hi, I'm Catherine Gray, founder of She Angel Investors and co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. I'm also the podcast host of Invest in Her and an award-winning producer, author, and TEDx speaker. Our show, Invest in Her, features phenomenal female founders and funders. As you know, women receive less than 2% of venture capital funding. Our series is about accelerating the funding of women by connecting them to funding resources. Let's meet today's guest. Thanks for tuning in today to Invest in Her. We're happy to have you with us, and we are happy to have our special guest, Julie DeLucca-Collins. And she is the CEO and founder of Go Confidently Services. She's also a best-selling author and podcast host. And today we're going to talk about how she helps you set up your own podcast from A to Z. Let's roll. Hi, Julie. How are you?
Hi, Catherine. Thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure to be on your show. I am a fangirl for sure. Your work is incredible, and I can't wait to talk about everything and anything.
Me too. And I really appreciate the work you're doing because, setting up a podcast is no easy thing. And you really have a unique business in doing that, helping people from how to name it, how to brand it, the technical aspects of it. I think a lot of times people want to start a podcast, but they're scared about all those things they don't know. Mm-hmm. And Julie's your girl. I mean, Go Confidently Services. I know you also do like amazing coaching for like life and business for business women. But I think this is one of the things that is one of the most popular things that is going now is people wanting to start their own podcast. What do you think?
I have to tell you that, yes, I have found that it's something that a lot of individuals really struggle, and you're trying to get a message out there. You're trying to build a brand, create authority for your message. And podcasting is one of my favorite things. I have to tell you, I've been listening to podcasts since, I don't know, 2004, 5. Yeah, the 1800s. And
Me too.
From that time, I said, I want to have a podcast. And although at that time I was in corporate America, and really I tried to get the two companies that I worked for at different times to start one, the challenge is that it could be daunting, right? It could be like, oh, what do you mean? And when I started my business after COVID, was in the middle of COVID, really, I was laid off through the pandemic, and I knew I wanted to really help women. I wanted to use the things that I was really good at and then support them in building a business and brand. And my husband is the one who actually had heard me talk about having a podcast for so long, Catherine. And he's like, you're starting a podcast. And of course, my mind did what it does best. Overwhelmed, like, oh my God, what do you mean? And again, I've been talking about this and wanted to do it. And I just thought, there's no way. There really is no way to do it. I don't even know what I would do first, second, or third.
I hear that a lot. Or people have the name they want to call it, and that's about it. But yeah, they don't know where to start. It can be daunting. It actually can be a lot of work, but if you have people helping you, it can be rather easy and simple to set up. If you feel like it's your calling, I think you and I both feel that way, and you're meant to be doing it to get a certain message out there, then you've got to do it. And so where do you start? Well, you could start with Julie's, company, Go Confidently Services, and, check it out, because you don't have to do everything yourself.
No, you don't. And I have to tell you, one of my favorite things that I heard from one of my mentors early on in my life, I must have been in high school. And he said, do what you do best, delegate the rest.
And that's, I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, that's the thing where we go wrong. we try to do it all. We try to, be the person that has it all together and not let anybody know that we need help. And yet that's where we stumble, because we stay in that overwhelm. And then sometimes that overwhelm gets us into inaction. And inaction is a sure way of not, going after our dreams or launching a podcast or a business. And I was fortunate enough in my journey that my husband said, I will help you. And he did sound in college, and he works in tech, aerospace. So this stuff comes very easily to him. And he got the podcasting equipment that came in, and he's like, I'll do it. No problem. And we got going with my podcast. But we really, again, did what we know to do best. And then what we also did is we leverage the knowledge. I've been listening to Pat Flynn for many years. He's been someone who I considered a mentor, right? And I binged all his stuff, learned everything I could. Then I joined his community, and he's been so instrumental in helping me know what is the right way, because his value system for helping individuals, giving as much help, support, even if you don't hire him or work with him or take his course, is very aligned to my value system as well. You want to know something? I'm going to teach you. I'm a teacher, right? That's how I started my career. And I want to help others. And I'm so really fortunate that my husband is aligned with that. And as we figured it out, that's the next thing that kind of came to be at Go Confidently Services, because as I was helping women in their coaching business, in their entrepreneurship journey, some of them even have product-based businesses. What we found is that they had a message, but they didn't know what to do. So it was sort of like, I don't know, can I say this word? I was pimping out my husband to the other ladies, like, use my husband. He's your handy guy. He can do it. And then all of a sudden, the more that we realized that, hey, wait a minute. Yes, they can use him, but we can either do a service and start to provide, because people kept asking, well, can you just do it? I don't want to do it. Just do it for me. And we started to really create something that what we do is it's really hire my husband, but now we have, and he's a Six Sigma certified, green belt. So he knows processes in addition to what you need to do. And he's gone through the training. He's, definitely his quality control background also allows him to create systems that we can very easily help someone name their podcast. And really, I like the a la carte model, because not everybody uses or can or needs or has or whatever. So we give you options. We can edit for you. We can do the whole shebang package, which that's taking you from the beginning to the very end. Or also it's just a strategy session as well, in which you just need to talk to someone who is not
how do I
sure.
grow? How do I grow my audience?
How do you grow your audience?
More people, there's so many aspects to it. I think, I think that is what is daunting to people. And like you said, and I'm a big believer in this, like, do what you do really well.
Yeah.
And then for things that you're not good at, bring in people that are really good at what they do, what they do and what they really love to do.
Right.
Like, everybody in the world should be doing what they really love to do. I mean, that's what it's all about, that you're here.
Best piece of advice.
Using your gifts, right?
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's where we get stuck. Again, I have a funny story to this. My friend asked me to come to this event she was having, and she said, could you bake something? And I said, oh yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, I've baked for fun, but I don't bake enough to say that I am a baker. And I would like to say I have tons of time and that I bake, but I've done it. I've done it well sometimes. I've done it poorly sometimes. But I said,
Julie,
yes.
Let me just interrupt 1 second and tell you that none of my friends will ever ask me to bake. I will tell you that right now.
I love that.
I am the last person they will ask.
But that's what happens.
They all know, keep Catherine out of the kitchen.
Well, sometimes people don't know you enough, and then they will ask you for things, and you want to say yes because you don't want to let them down, or you become overly ambitious and say, oh yeah, I could do that.
So
and
what's
you put
the story,
yourself,
Julie? Did you burn the cookies?
No, I ended up going and shopping for cookies. But in the meantime, I really sat overwhelmed. I sat I got to get these. I got to go shop. And by the way, I shopped for all the ingredients and I had them sitting in my cupboard, and I was so overwhelmed and busy. And then I thought, what am I doing? I have a friend that owns a bakery. I could just go buy the stuff. and buy and support somebody else.
That would be
And
me.
everybody's going to be thrilled, right? And I think that that's where we get into trouble in many areas of life, not just with podcasting, not just with our business, but we say yes to the things that then get us to say no to the things we really love.
And, here's the thing. Somebody will say, oh, I want to do a podcast, but I don't know where to start and I'm too overwhelmed. So I just won't do it.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I'm going to get to the bottom of how I do this. How do I start it? How do I get it on? How do I get it distributed? How do I get people to watch it? What do I name it? What's the format? How do I learn to interview? Like they just get too overwhelmed by all of that. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to go out and find the solutions. And that's why one of the main reasons I wanted to have you on today, because I thought, oh my gosh, did we hang up and I sent you two people? Yeah, because I no more hung up from you and you told me about this. And I called a friend and they're like, yeah, I'm getting ready to start a podcast. I'm like, oh, wait, do you want to talk to Julie DeLucca-Collins? She can help you start it. She's like, yes, I do. And so that's really what it's all about. I always like my show to be about resources. Like,
I love that.
Resources that help people get accomplished what they really want to do, but they really don't know how to do it. Whether it's fundraising or trying to, or become an angel investor or grow their business or start their podcast, Yeah,
Catherine, the other thing too, and I love, and I am so grateful to you for connecting me with people. I am a connector. Actually, the sign behind me, I don't know if you could see the red sign says connect, because that is my word for last year, but it really is one of my intrinsic values as well for myself. The thing about a podcast or getting resources, even if you're not going to work with me, having a conversation with someone that's kind of been through the process can really demystify the whole task at hand, because your brain is going to say, oh, how do you distribute it? Oh, forget it. No, who wants to hear you? You have a voice, you have a message. And let me tell you, there are podcasts that I listen to that are not in the top 100, but they're so valuable. I am a listener who is always thirsty for the content, and you have an area of genius, a zone of genius. You have a passion about something. There's someone out there that needs to hear what you have to say. Right. So don't let the tech or everything else.
Or 10,000. And by the way, thank you for letting us know that our podcast is in the top 5% globally. Wow, who knew? That's why you're my go-to person now for podcast information. And, also there are unique ways. Most people do distribute their podcast on things like Apple, Spotify. Some of them you have to apply to, like iHeart, like we did. But then there's also these new women's groups popping up. There's Asa Collective and Chicago. Right, of women. It's okay. Everybody has a dog who's listening.
Sorry, my dog's
your dog is just cheering us on.
He is cheering, but both of them are cheering us on. That was Yogi making his, appearance. Sorry, people.
Love it. And then the other thing is that you have a radio network that you're part of, and tell us a little bit about that, because people can put their podcasts on there, right?
Absolutely. So one of the things that one of the things that I really feel strongly about, there's someone that I connected with at the beginning of the pandemic. She's doing some incredible work supporting women. She used to have a business, used to be mommy conferences that were in person, and she would bring in vendors like Target and Pampers and do this huge events in California. And of course, when the pandemic hit, her business was shut down and for all intents and purposes. And she said, my kids are not in diapers anymore. My kids are more teenagers, preteens, but I want to support other moms who, like me, are overwhelmed, maybe need a reset, and need resources of things that can help them in their life. So Lori, as a matter of fact, and I started to collaborate. She used to host virtual events during the pandemic in which she would bring in speakers like myself to talk about habits or talk about mindfulness, anything that really could be a resource for other women. And what she found is that, again, people have a strong message, a powerful message. And in addition to podcasting, there's still people who don't listen to podcasts, but listen to the radio. So she is a can-do kind of lady, and she went and she resourced how to be able to create a radio network. She partnered with other organizations that then distribute the radio shows. And now we have the 360 Radio Network, where all of the shows, and she's compiled a group of incredible individuals. I have pioneered for her what we call a radio community. So it is a community within the 360 Talk Radio, and it is the Confident You community. And that's where all of my community, my listeners can go in. And I have resident experts that are incredible women who are creating a huge impact in the world and really leaving their mark, supporting other women. And I love that I have the opportunity for these women's message to be heard, not just in their podcast or their show, but really on the network, because it is a global network and they are reaching areas where podcasting may not be as prevalent, and also connecting with other people that can be part of their audience and part of the people that start to kind of grow from the content that they're putting out there, or just inspired by what it's out there. So the Confident You Network has been something that's phenomenal. We are seeing growth, and I actually got a message a couple days ago from someone who was in South Africa, and she said, I heard your show. And I thought, oh, South Africa. This is so fun. And I thought it was the podcast at first. And she said, no, it was the Confident You Radio. And I loved how you have Lauren and Jen, and she's mentioning some of my experts. My resident experts are there week to week, but I also have other incredible women who I bring in for my segment in the show. So it's 6 different segments in which we have these incredible women from all walks of life talking about their genius. And we've also helped them put their message out there. And we have such pride for the work that they are doing, leaving their mark and creating what I call that ripple effect in the world, because it all can start with just a small action that creates a great ripple effect that we will never really see, but it's out there.
And so do people put their podcasts on the radio network? Is it?
Yes and no.
Okay. Yeah.
So for the 360 Radio Network, what we really want to create is original content. Now, in some cases, so for instance, I have a couple of my resident experts that have podcasts outside of the radio network, and they do a combination. Some of them have created brand new original shows just for the radio network, like I have. So for instance, Casa DeConfidence is my podcast, but I've created original content, Confident You, in which we talk confidence to an extent, but we talk more about what your purpose is and how that gives you the confidence to go out after your dream.
And how can our listeners find the radio?
So the best way to do it is you go to 360. You can ask Alexa to play 360 Women Talk Radio. You can go and enter 360 Talk Radio, and it will take you to the radio station. In some instances, there are local radio stations that don't have content, and then they syndicate some of the content. Like, let's say they had a 4-hour block that nobody, something fell through with the programming. They can actually leverage this content as well. So we don't know from week to week what other stations are out there, but it's incredible to see this. If people want to connect as well, they can send me an email at Julie@GoConfidentlyCoaching, and I can also send you the link to the replays, and you can hear past episodes, because radio is live, right? So once we release that episode for the week, then it's gone from the radio. But I wanted to create a way in which we also can go back and listen to some of this great content, and people can have accessibility to it. So even if you discover me now, you can go back and listen to some of the incredible people who have been on the show since September 1st when we launched.
I love it. So they can actually email you, Julie, at
GoConfidentlyCoaching.com.
Go Confidently.
And say radio station, and I will send you the link to you'll get the link. And every time that we release a new show, you will get the link where you can play the show and go back and listen to the rest of the episodes.
Great. So they can go to Go Confidently Coaching if they want a coach.
Yes.
You help people build and start their business and build their business. You also help them, obviously, as we talked about all day today, start their podcast, how to name it, how to create it, how to distribute it, how to grow it, how to have fun with it.
How to have fun with it. And, in some cases, we've even helped women monetize their show because that's a priority that they have. And everybody has a different reason for starting or growing a podcast. Yes. The other thing, too, is, the tech. We help you figure out the tech, what kind of mic. Even if you want to spend something as low as under $100, you can get started. But it's really daunting, again, to figure out, like, oh my gosh, what microphone? What should I do this? Should I do that? And then you go online and everybody has a different opinion. What we've really mastered is creating a system so that my husband helps you really pick, because everybody's voice is different. Yes. What your computer is different, where you are, the theme of your podcast. Are you going to have music? All of that is something that you really... Are you going to have guests? Correct. Yeah. That totally makes a difference. And by the way, for instance, I am on my 4th microphone because when we ordered equipment, we ordered just a basic microphone. And the more that we find, the more that we see, the more that we tweak and create systems that really work.
I like my Yeti.
Yeah. So that's a very popular microphone. People use it a lot. I have to say, this is Pat Flynn, who, again, that's how we got started. I have his mic, and I don't like that it's covered with my little foam thing here, but I move with my hands a lot. I talk with my hands, good at Italian, Spanish girl. So when we had a pop filter here, which keeps you from having plosives, your P's, right? And create these things that could be not great to hear when you're on the radio or on a podcast. It keeps them from being as explosive.
Right. Absolutely.
So that makes a difference. But my husband had to take the little screen away and put a whole thing. But I thought my microphone was better without it. Yeah, because of the hand thing.
Well, as we're wrapping, I just want to mention that you were cited as 25 of the most powerful minority women in business. You got an award for that from Minority Enterprises in Washington, D.C.
Oh, you're making me blush.
You also have a book out there that people could get, also called Go Confidently, right?
It's Confident You. Simple habit. Yeah, no, it's a lot, right? Confident this, not confident that. No, yes, it's Confident You. Simple habits to live the life you have imagined. I am a Tiny Habits certified coach. And as a Tiny Habits certified coach, habits are really important to me. It really has been the secret sauce to me being able to do some of the things that I do.
And you know what? You must be psychic because you brought that up. And I was going to bring that up, that you specialize in the Tiny Habits theory. And I'm just reading that book. I'm sure you probably have heard of it, Atomic Habits. And, everybody's reading that book. It's so popular right now. It's about those tiny habits and how they impact. Like, you don't want a goal. You want to actually change your system to reach the goal, because it's the system that reaches the goal, not just the desire, right?
Not just the desire. And for people who have read... for people who have read Atomic Habits, and there's several books out there, right? Atomic Habits is by James Clear. Then you have The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, and then you have Tiny Habits, which is by Dr. BJ Fogg. He is the founder of the Stanford University's Behavior Lab, and he's one of the world's leading researchers when it comes to habit creation and behavior change. So going through that certification for me has been really impactful, because it has allowed me to not only use the Tiny Habits framework, but also be able to use that with my clients and create the type of systems and also momentum so that they can feel successful, feel good, create change, and be the person that they want to be by the habits, and also create the success for their lives that they're looking for.
Yeah. And it's a great theory about how people try to change too much at one time and then they fail, and about just making a little change in a habit is easier and more sustainable, and in the long run, more effective. If
100%.
If people aren't understanding the theory that we're talking about.
Yeah, you're explaining it correctly. Yeah. In order to change and create a new behavior, there's 3 things that have to be present: motivation, the ability to make the new behavior, and then also the prompt that will remind you to do the behavior. Most of us automate 90% of everything that we do. So creating a new habit can be challenging, one, because it's hard and we have to rely on motivation. And when motivation is not present, then we can't create the behavior. So therefore, you have to rely on the two other, which is the ability, find the right moment, but also find the place where you're going to remind yourself to do the new behavior. And if it's tiny and you celebrate that you accomplished that little tiny thing, then your brain starts to encode that and say, oh, I like that good feeling. I'm going to do that again.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like going to the gym, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody walks out and says, gee, I wish I didn't do that.
100%.
Well, listen, such a pleasure talking to you today. I want to make sure that people know how to get to, find you. Where can we find you on social and under which title?
Yeah, well, I make simple for everyone. I am Julie DeLucca-Collins in all of the social media platforms.
Oh,
and
great. Okay.
The website is goconfidentlycoaching.com, and you can go there. The podcast is Casa DeConfidence.
Casa DeConfidence. Yeah, I'm excited to be a guest on your show.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you. It's going to be great.
It's going to be so fun. And, thank you for talking about this today. I know a lot of our listeners want to know how to set up a podcast. So this will be fun for them to have this resource now. Bravo on everything that you're doing to help, elevate women, help them build their businesses, their podcasts. And I'm sure your book is amazing. I'm going to pick that up.
Thank you.
Tell me the name again.
It is Confident You, Simple Habits to Live the Life You Have Imagined. And Catherine, I'm going to send you a copy. So don't pick it up. Awesome. I'm going to send you the copy. I'm going to put it in the mail. And because I appreciate the work that you do. You are creating such an opportunity for women to really be able to come into their own and make that mark, leave their mark in this world. And I appreciate the work that you do so much. So excited to have you on the show. Thank you for this opportunity. Again, we're talking about things that I'm very passionate about, and that's empowering women, helping them grow and be confident, and also really create the habits that will help them and propel them to the life that they want to live.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for the work you're doing. Everybody look up Julie DeLucca-Collins on LinkedIn, Facebook, or wherever you're on social. Of course, we are on there as well. Catherine Gray, Invest in Her on Instagram, and our SheAngelInvestors.com is our website. You can find us on social as well. And we have a new documentary coming out. You can find us on Instagram called Show Her the Money. Yes, we are all about that.
I love it.
Everybody, have a great day. Julie, thank you so much.
Thank you, Catherine. And don't forget, go confidently in the direction of your dreams.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you're looking to launch a business or grow your business, check out our e-course, 6 Ways to Fund Your Business, available at SheAngelInvestors.com.